a lot of times. When those two teams clash, what typically happens?
Well, it's not necessarily different. It's the same thing. Their tempo was created by their defense, and it's the same thing we want to do. We just do it in a different way. Theirs is a full court press and pressure that creates their offensive tempo. Ours is a half court defensive pressure, and we both want to run off of both of those. And we saw it the other night. You saw it against LSU. If we'll get stops, rebounds, create turnovers, then the carrot for my guys is then you'll get to go have fun and run in transition. If we don't get stops, then we're going to grind you out a little bit and make you guard a little bit because we don't have the offensive explosion. So it's really the same thing. We just do it in a different way.
Has I don't want to say permanently, but is Alan Payne in your thinking back in the rotation, or is that just like a day-by-day type thing?
It's all day by day. We're in the one-step program. It's day by day. A 12-step program. It's day by day. I mean, there is no set rotation. The guys are either going to earn their way in or earn their way out. And that's why it's been a kind of a revolving door all year long. And the best thing about Alan and the example that he can be for my team, but he can also be for kids growing up, and it's what I try to do with this game is through the game of basketball, teach these guys life lessons, because it's what happens in life. When things get hard, what happens? Do you quit and go away, or do you keep on fighting? And Alan Payne is a perfect example of a guy who, you know, on him and because of him, he lost his spot in the rotation. But he didn't pout, he didn't cry, he came every day to work and get better, and he kept every day showing me, Coach, you can still count on me. And so now he's earned his way back into the rotation. There's some other guys who on this team who need to learn that lesson, and they haven't quite figured that out.
I know earlier in the year you said you were still trying to find kind of the right combination at three between Denson, Langford, Noel, and Allen. I mean, do you feel like you're closer to getting that rotation down?
Yeah. I like the rotation. I like, especially since we've gotten in the league and we've got bigger wings in our league than Allen and Josh Langford at the three have been pretty good. And then Frankie and Chris at the two have been pretty good. So I like the rotation where it is right now, but it's still TBA, depending on who performs and who doesn't perform.
I noticed, and this may have had to do with not to do anything, but Noel didn't go through warm-ups. Is there a point where he just kind of gets put on the shelf for a while just because his wrist is not
well,
able to play?
He hurt his other hand.
Did he? Okay.
He hurt his other hand. Didn't hurt it at the same level, but he hurt his other hand and didn't feel he could go in the game the other night. So he went today, and so we'll see where he is tomorrow.
Is the goal with playing Arkansas, do you guys have to make them play your pace?
I don't know what our pace is. I mean, our pace is, you know, when you say our pace is a fast pace if we'll get stops. We'll run the entire game. If you don't get stops, we're going to grind you out a little bit because we don't have the offensive type of players to just play a helter-skelter crazy game. We don't have that type of personnel. So what we're going to try to do is, like we do every game, we're going to try to play to our strengths and make the other team play to their weaknesses.
Was Chris feeling well enough to practice, or is he?
No, he didn't practice today. Under the weather.
Is he still going to make the trip?
Yeah, I anticipate he'll be back on the floor tomorrow for practice.
Going back to Noel for a second, you know, he was a guy that you felt could kind of come in and make an immediate impact. Is it kind of, I guess, frustrating that he's had this many setbacks, you know, this early into his Auburn career, you think?
It is because of what you expect from a guy. What you expect. I have expectations for each individual coming into the year. But sometimes those things, you know, a guy, perfect example, Julian Stone, who I recruited at UTEP, the 6'7" point guard I had out there. I recruited him as a guy who was going to be a role player, role guy, just part of the program probably for 2-3 years, and then maybe by the time he was a senior. But when first time he stepped on the floor as a freshman, within a week he became the starting point guard, and he started for me for the 3 years that I had him there before I left to come here, and that's why he's with the Denver Nuggets, because he showed me he's got something else. So it's not what I expect or what I envision. It's what each individual shows me once they get here, no matter what I see for him. And so for Noel, I saw more for him, which meant more for our team because of what I thought he could give us in terms of his ability to score. Unfortunately, he had the injury that set him back, and now that he's back, he still hasn't shown me that he wants that opportunity, and that's where it's at.
Arkansas is extremely tough on their home court. What are the keys, do you think, for you to get your first SEC road win?
I'd take care of the ball against their press and their pressure. They want to create a lot of their offense and their tempo of the game off of that. And if you can beat that, try to attack it, but at the same time be patient against it on the backside and not force things on that floor, then we'll give ourselves a chance to win. If we have 15, 20, 20-plus turnovers, then it'd be a hard game to win. So we got to take care of the ball.
No, good.
Okay.